Solar stocks may be gearing up for a big breakout. Unfortunately, many traders and many investors will likely play this move all wrong. They'll buy the wrong stocks. I'll explain why I'm saying that in a minute, but let me first introduce myself if this is your first time to the channel. My name is Justin Spittler, and I'm a professional trader. I regularly share some of my analysis here on YouTube, but I'm even more active on Twitter. You can find me over there at JSpitTrades. I'll include a link in the description of this video if possible. But enough of the chit chat. Let's dig into these solar stocks since that's probably why you're here. I'm going to start things off by looking at the solar stock ETF TAN. If you've been following me on Twitter, you know this is a chart that I've shared a few times. And the reason solar stocks and TAN in particular has been in my radar is because you could argue that its bottoming process really began in February 2022. So that was just a month after the S&P 500 topped out. So it's sort of doing its own thing. We eventually came back down, wicked down, and bottomed in May of 2022. That's when it put in its ultimate bottom. But again, that was well ahead of schedule because the broad market wouldn't bottom out until October of last year. So if you've been following my YouTube channel or follow me on Twitter, you know I really like to look for stocks and sectors that are ahead of schedule, that are their bottoming process is in a more mature phase. And I think you could argue that TAN fits the bill. I also like how it's been in this wedge pattern, and this wedge pattern is starting to get really, really tight. You know anything about TA, when a pattern starts to get really, really tight, that often precedes big moves. And now TAN could break out to the upside and just rip from here, or it could roll over to the downside and break down, and solar stocks could be in serious trouble. But my bet, or I'm thinking that solar stocks will break out to the upside. And I say that because I'm seeing some really constructive price action in some individual solar stocks. And these aren't the usual suspects. These aren't the solar stocks that a lot of people automatically think of when they think of solar stocks. So I'll get to that in a second. I'm going to share my 4 favorite solar stocks with you. But first, I want to mention one thing about TAN. So you can see that TAN bottomed back in March of 2020, which was when a lot of stocks bottomed due to the COVID crash. And then it had about a 500% rally off that level in a very short period of time. That's a tremendous move because we're not talking about a single stock here. We're not talking about a small, tiny stock. This is an entire industry group that went up 500% in a relatively short period of time. So that's a tremendous move. And after a move like that, it's only natural for it to pull back, which it did, and then since consolidate before making its next move higher. So I think this is perfectly healthy normal price action out of TAN. That's got me interested in solar stocks. But a lot of people aren't interested in solar stocks as much as me, and it's because they're focusing on solar stocks like Inphase. So Inphase is one of the largest publicly traded solar stocks. And it's actually one of the best stocks of all time. You can see when we zoom out on it that it just really had this tremendous move from May of 2017 to November of last year. So that's a huge rally. And what's also interesting about that is that Inphase was trading near or at all-time highs right around when the broad market was topping out. So it was doing its own thing. And then when the broad market started to find their footing, many traders and investors thought, well, sure, Inphase is going to lead the market higher. It's just well ahead of schedule. It's already trading near all-time highs. It already broke out of this space. Like, it's definitely going higher. But the opposite happened. And Inphase has basically been bleeding since November of last year and has pulled back into support. So it's showing a lot of weakness. It's really underperforming. You can see here that it's actually down for the year. So it's down in 2023 when a lot of tech stocks and growth stocks have been doing really well. So just these underperformance out of Inphase has a lot of people overlooking the opportunities in solar stocks right now. Another reason I think a lot of people are overlooking the opportunities setting up in the solar space right now is because of the performance of SolarEdge. So this is another large solar stock. I want to say its market cap's about 16 billion. And we can see here, similar to Inphase, it's just not showing a ton of strength lately. It's actually down slightly. Looks like it's down or flat for the year for 2023. And just when you zoom out and look at it even on an even longer term perspective, it's just really done nothing. So no signs of strength here, just consolidating and chopping around. And so when a lot of people see the performance of SolarEdge and Inphase, they're just not seeing the strength out of the largest solar stocks that they're accustomed to seeing, and so that's causing them to overlook other solar stocks in the space. But I think that would be a mistake. You can see what I mean here. This is Array Technologies. This is a smaller solar stock. I want to say Array has a market cap of about, let me see, market cap of about 3.6 billion. So definitely not huge, but decent sized company. But what I really like about Array Technologies, other than the fact that it's a smaller solar stock and just naturally flying under the radar for that reason, is when you zoom out on it and look at its weekly, you can see that's really been building out this massive inverse head and shoulders pattern. Looked like it was going to break out back in January of this year, but didn't quite happen. It actually had like a somewhat of a false breakout, pulled back into support, and then just built out another mini base here. And now it's starting to climb out of that mini base, and now it's really starting to climb out of the overall bottoming pattern. So it's very encouraging. It's back above its 30-week moving average, back above its 10-week moving average. We're starting to see really nice volume pour in the past few weeks. So just overall, really constructive action from Array Technologies. And this, when I look at this stock, I think it has the potential to really emerge as a market leader, not within just in the solar space, but within the overall market in general. That's how bullish I am on just this long-term bottoming structure. I think it has much brighter days ahead of it. So Array Technologies, definitely one to watch. I'm also really liking what I'm seeing from Canadian Solar. So when you see here, you can see that it had this huge basing pattern, reclaimed its rising 10-week and 30-week moving averages, and it just since broken the downtrend that it's been in since January 2021. So that alone is very bullish price action. It's lovely base, breaking the downtrend. All good things. We're seeing nice volume pour in recently, and as well, we saw a big volume spike here, and especially here. And so that looks great. But then when you zoom out on Canadian Solar, we can see that it's actually emerging out of a massive inverse head and shoulders pattern. And this area of the base really began building out in 2025, and it didn't break out until 2020. So this is about a 5-year portion of that initial base. That had a big run out of that, pulled back, tested that higher time frame support level, bounced off that, and then built out the handle portion of this massive cup and handle pattern. So overall, super, super constructive price action from Canadian Solar. This looks like a stock that, if the overall market holds up and does well, this is a stock that I think, could be an outperformer, not just in the coming months, but potentially years. That's what happens when stocks break out of these massive multi-year bases. So it's definitely a name to keep an eye on. I'm also really liking what I'm seeing from Maxine Technologies. Similar to Array, we could see massive inverse head and shoulders pattern, broke out of that. It's actually leading the solar group recently and had this huge candle here on big volume. This is about a 33 or 35% weekly candle. The problem is that the next week it sold off hard on heavy volume and has since come back down into this support level. And when we flip over to the daily, I am concerned about this sharp sell-off on volume here, but we're holding this support level. So if buyers continue to step in at this level, we hold this support level and can start to rise out of this base again, then I think this is definitely a name to watch because just when you zoom out on it and you look on the weekly, it's just very constructive long-term price action out of Maxine. So definitely another name to watch. And the last name I want to share with you guys today. So this is Next Tracker. This chart looks a little different from the ones I've showed already, which had huge multi-month, multi-year bases that were merging out of. So this is some new merchandise. So this company went public back in February, built out this initial base, rallied off this level really strongly, and now appears to be building out a bull flag potentially up here, just consolidating the gains from this recent move higher. But overall, very constructive price action. We don't have as much price history, but if we do see a strong bull market or a strong rally in solar stocks going forward, this is a name to keep an eye on for a simple reason that a lot of traders, a lot of investors gravitate to new merchandise. They like new stories and new companies. So this is definitely a name to watch because it fits that bill of just being, something new and exciting, and a lot of investors just naturally gravitate to those sorts of stocks. So next tracker is one of four solar stocks that I think need to be on your radar if you're interested in this space. But yeah, that's it for today. I hope you found this video informative, and until next time, thanks.